On July 9th, 1947, there was an incident in North Hollywood, in Hollywood, California, where people saw a flying saucer crash into this woman's yard and burst into flames. This is roughly the same time as the Roswell incident, which is roughly the week of July 7th through the 10th or the 9th of 1947. So a flying saucer crashes in Los Angeles. But what's amazing about the case, which is now listed under the Freedom of Information Act request on the FBI's website. This is a real case. What you're about to see are real photographs. They retrieved the flying saucer and it's only 30 inches in diameter. 30 inches, and it's made of aluminum. And what really got my attention is that when you look at this thing, when they cut it in half and they opened it up, it's got a V-shaped notch and a black hole in the center. And if you look at the NASA STS-75 UFO, which I estimated 2 to 3 miles wide, it looks identically the same on the cameras. They can see into the invisible ultraviolet. You can see a dark hole in the center, you can see these strobing waves coming out of it, and you can see this notch cut out of the side of it. I mean, it's really quite remarkable. But when we actually look at what was found inside the craft, when we read the actual FBI documents, it says on the evening of July the 9th, 1947, a report was received in the Los Angeles office that a so-called flying disc had landed in the vicinity of Redford and Magnolia Streets in North Hollywood, California, and described it as approximately 30 inches in diameter. It weighed about 22 pounds. And in fact, we even have the address here of where it crashed, 11858 Magnolia Boulevard, North Hollywood. I mean, this is a very detailed report. But when they took the flying saucer and they cut it in half, and you look at these photographs, they found that it had a radio tube, it mounted in the center. So this thing was producing some kind of a magnetic field or some kind of waves, and produced anti-gravity. And they claimed when the FBI actually researched this, a bunch of kids claimed that they were actually, it was an experiment. Kids, this is what they're claiming in this FBI report. I mean, 16 years old. This kid was 16 years old. He said he built this thing. And when you really look at it, if a 16-year-old kid could build a flying saucer in 1947, the same day as the Roswell crash, where did he get the information? Was he having telepathic dreams? You know, in the last couple of months, and he decides to build this thing. Is this really not? This is really an extraterrestrial satellite that's connected to the main craft at Roswell. And when the craft at Roswell crashes down on the ground, it loses contact with its satellite, the little probe, and they both crash. But why a 16-year-old kid? Why is a 16-year-old kid claiming this? And if a 16-year-old kid did this, where is he today? Where is anti-gravity research today? And then, why aluminum? Is there something about aluminum that interacting with electromagnetic fields that causes anti-gravity? When we look at Boyd Bushman, the Lockheed senior research scientist, he actually shows us an experiment and he tells us that both copper and aluminum, when they're interfaced with certain electromagnetic fields and magnetism, produces anti-gravity. Okay, this is my anti-gravity
action!
And I believe if we make these out of aluminum and we follow the rules that Boyd Bushman is saying, this car will revolutionize the future. When you don't, these are my anti-gravity thrusters right here, which are actually my coils and my fields and my aluminum thrusters. The car would be made out of aluminum, and you have a bubble kind of glass dome here, and the driver sits right here, and you basically what happens once you can cancel out gravity. I mean, no more tires down here to produce friction on the road. When you go up a hill, you don't have to fight gravity going up the hill because you canceled it out. The amount of energy that it would actually take to drive this car, once you're defying gravity, is so small that basically to go forward, you would have thrusters in the back of the car here, which you can't see, they'd be inside the car, that would send out magnetic pulses backwards, and forward you go zooming off, and you could be going hundreds of miles an hour, flying over the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, over the mountain ranges, no more highways, no more pavement. You can land your car anywhere you want to go.
No, because I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice that it floated above the aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, something mystical inside the aluminum was doing something like happened inside of copper.
You can't run current through aluminum like a wire.
Yeah.
And traditionally it's said it's non-conductive, but actually you're saying it is conductive.
Well, something occurred. Actually, what's happening is that this only works if it's AC electricity,
Alternating current.
alternating current. Okay. Notice that this only worked if it was moving. In other words, when I'm working with this, it doesn't care a thing about each other.
Right.
But when I have motion, something happens.
Right. When we discover that we reach this epoch in civilization where we get off the ground and we can hover, we can be free, we can levitate icebergs, we can end droughts, we can change our architecture, we can build pyramids again and levitate giant pieces of stone. Anti-gravity will revolutionize life on this planet. It is the answer to sustainability. It is what Al Gore is looking for, but Al Gore doesn't know about.